All right, well, I hope you all had a fantastic weekend, but it's now about that time to get right back into the markets. And for those of you who don't already know, the market made a brand new all-time high on Friday, and this week is set to be a very exciting one as earnings season is back in action. So we're going to have a great week in the market this week. Stick with us to hear all of the setups for the week and why this week will be an exciting one. But Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, the market made a new all-time high, and we kept talking about that 480 area being the all-time high for SPY, and that it could possibly break, given that, NVIDIA, Microsoft, and so many other stocks were making new all-time highs themselves, and that continued on Friday. And what we see, the SPY broke that, ran up to 482.50-ish. You can see here in after hours, it was like right around 482.64, but either way, it broke the all-time high, and the market had a great jump to the upside. So on Friday, there was a lot of bullish price action. You go over to NVIDIA, AMD, and these chip stocks, they really continued, and even a lot of the big tech stocks like Apple and Microsoft had fairly good days Friday. So I'm really watching the market this week, Mike, for a continued breakout. We still have to be a little bit careful of a possible double top coming in. Sometimes the market will break out by a couple points and then still fall down, and that would still count as a double top, even though it, wasn't exactly at 480. So keep that in mind. You got to give or take a little bit, but as of now, with how high it closed and everything, it's looking pretty good for bulls come Monday morning. And I know they've been celebrating lately, and they just continue to celebrate, Mike, because it's been a great time out there in the market, and those long-term accounts are killing it.
Oh, yeah. And when you look at the market over the past couple years, Tom, it has been a wild, wild ride. The market peaked originally towards the end of 2021, and it had a pretty nasty drawdown in 2022. But ever since that point, it has been roaring back in a pretty serious way. And we are, of course, set for a very exciting year with the elections and all that stuff. But hey, brand new all-time highs are here, and looking at historical data, when we see a new all-time high, and it's also been more than a year without making an all-time high. This basically happened 13 times in history, and 12 of those times the market just kept roaring higher, and you could see each instance as the green, what I'll call diamond on the chart. Most of the time when this happens, the market continues to run higher. But I guess you can also say that about almost any other market statistic that happens because, generally speaking, the market is just blasted up nonstop over the past 80 years. But either way, very exciting.
It really is, and like you said, the market generally goes up, but it's good to see, though, that on the 12-month returns that, we see it being positive most of the time, 92.3%, so that's a pretty big number in my eyes, and I think that going forward into this year, we could see a continuation of that. Now, there will be pullbacks mixed in, so don't get that confused with just that we're going to go straight up all year, right? Because that's not necessarily going to be the case, but I think that there could be some good movement this year, and I would bet that we close the year above 480, and I know that that's probably a, you're just really kind of guessing at that point, but I would think that given everything going on in the market, that I think that we could close above 480 at the end of the year. That doesn't mean we're going to close above it by 15%, but I think that generally it's good to see that these types of years do well like this, and I'm really glad that also that the market's performing so well right now, because as we know, Mike, at the beginning of the year in election years, historically the market's been a little bit shaky, so I'm glad to see it continuing to move up, and we'll have to be careful though in February because things could change a little bit as maybe the feds are a little bit wary of that rising inflation.
Exactly, and check this out. Go back to the chart for 1 second that shows the new all-time highs. We can see that when you look at the 12-month return, there's a 92% chance, historically speaking, that the market will, be green 12 months later. But when you shift over to the left to the 1-month return, that drops down to a 69% chance of being positive. So while generally speaking, the event we're seeing in the market right now ends up in bringing more green to the market, when you shift it over to that shorter time frame like the 1 month return, it does shift a bit. So that's worth keeping in mind as well.
Yeah, it really is. And one thing that we've been talking about a lot lately is the rate cuts going on. And everybody's been like, wow, we're going to see rate cuts this year. There's going to be more rate cuts, and the market's going to do very well with those cuts coming in as the Feds start to scale back a little bit. But Mike, as we can see on the FedWatch chart here, they're actually now pricing in a pause for March. And we've been talking about this a lot, where March was actually being priced in to have a rate cut by the market earlier in the year. Just a couple weeks ago, this was at like 70 to 80% right here at the cut, I guess, percentage. But now they're starting to price in a pause for March. So I guess the high inflation data is shifting things a little bit, and the market is just getting too high in the short term. With the market making new highs, that's not really what the Federal Reserve wants. They kind of want the market to be shaky, flat, or a little bit down even. That's kind of what they're doing. They're trying to add pressure onto the market, and the market's kind of giving them the middle finger right now. Like, hey, screw you, Powell. You're the transitory guy. We're going to make new highs. So it's kind of crazy, though, to see them now switching March over to a pause, and we'll be keeping up with these percentages as the next few weeks go on, because there's going to be a lot of big events coming.
No doubt. And another thing we just have to talk about, especially this week, is how earnings season is back in action. So looking at the lineup for the week, we have some big names like Netflix, Verizon, Tesla, Intel, Visa, AT&T, and a whole lot more that I didn't even cover, right? There's a lot this week, but I will say the two most important will be Netflix on Tuesday after close and Tesla on Wednesday after close. And I think these two stocks will like set the tone for earnings season, because if we go back in the charts, I believe a couple years ago at this point, Netflix just got absolutely obliterated on their January earnings report back in 2022. And when that happened, it set the tone for the rest of the year. You know, people went into 2022 in like a somewhat bearish way. So I think like this Tesla and Netflix earnings report will be very interesting. And I think it'll tell a lot about, you know, what's going to happen in the short term. So much so that, at least in my opinion, I think that like these two earnings reports will, be one of the most important events that we'll see over the next couple weeks.
I do too, and especially I think Tesla will be pretty big. Netflix is obviously big for a lot of streaming stocks, just tech stocks in general. Tesla will be huge. You know, everyone's watching their numbers right now. They just released the truck, so I wonder how they're going to end up reporting. But, man, we're going to have to see some good numbers by these stocks, or else that overall market might start to turn back over. And of course, we make new all-time highs right as earnings season kicks off, right? Because now if there's some negative earnings, we could see some stocks pull back. Just look at Apple's earnings over the past couple reports. Like, I'm not expecting a good one out of them either over the next few weeks and month or so. So, you know, be ready for that. But I'm very worried about the earnings here, Mike. And I think that some fun ones might be more like Southwest Airlines, American Airlines. Those might be even better to play right now than stuff like Tesla and Netflix. But obviously, you know, don't be buying naked calls, holding them into these guys. It's just, you know, I would recommend playing them after the reports. I know a lot of people are probably going to be looking at Tesla. Just be very careful out there. I hope that we save some people some money, Mike, and some people, you know, have second thoughts about holding some of those into earnings.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited for this week, though. I think it's really going to tell a lot, and I think it's going to set the tone for the next couple weeks. So it should be very interesting. And then shifting over into the economic calendar, you can say, there's nothing too crazy going on this week. We have some, like, durable goods data and GDP growth rate data on Thursday before market open, and we also have some like PCE data on personal income and personal spending on Friday before open, but we're in the clear besides that. So with that being said, let's get right into some setups for tomorrow. One stock I'm watching very closely is BABA, and it's to the upside, and this stock has been getting obliterated over the past couple years and even over the past couple months. But on Friday, especially if we go to like an intraday chart, Tom, check this out. The intraday price action was phenomenal. A bunch of volume came in, and that stock really started to move with some solid momentum. So, you know, that's a pretty big move right there, and it's like almost out of nowhere as well. So I will have some pretty close eyes on BABA to the upside for tomorrow and the rest of the week for a potential continuation of this type of price action.
Oh my gosh, Mike, Baba, they've been rough lately. They fall down, then they try to bounce off support, but then they break it a couple days later. It's been a pretty rough go for them, but I think that this might be a good spot for a turnaround. So I like it. I'll definitely keep them on the radar as well. And with my first one, I'm actually going to go with Meta here. And I know that Meta is very, very overextended in the grand scheme of things and in the short term, and they're sitting right at their all-time high. With all these other stocks making new record highs lately, I'm going to really watch Meta to also make one. I think that they could get up above 385, up into like the 390ish range some point this week, so I'll really watch them. They've been on one hell of a run. They are very overextended, but for intraday opportunities, one single day is fine. I would not be swinging calls on something like this, but if we see a solid break above like 384.50 in the morning, then I think that there could be a good continuation. So, like I said, good for day trades, but I'm definitely not buying up here for the long term.
All right. Another one I'm watching pretty closely is Zoom, and it's also to the upside. This one has been stuck in the mud for a while now, as it's just been very flat for way too long, right? And we're starting to see some decent price action creep in, but now that the market has officially broken all-time highs, I would like to think that this would give Zoom the green light saying, all right, you can go up now, finally. But either way, I'm watching it pretty closely. Like I said, it's just been so oversold for a while now, and it has been holding up for a long time. In the Friday price action was kind of good as well. So I have some close eyes on Zoom. I would like to see a break above like $69.50 for like that initial like trigger.
Yeah, I would love to see that too. Zoom is another stock that is definitely on my radar. I love watching them with like the trend break that's happened recently, and they tried to like confirm off of it last week. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes on Zoom, and I'm actually going with another growth stock for my next play, which is Square. And this one has been on one hell of a run this year, but they started pulling back over the past few weeks, and now it's starting to come up off the dip. It's almost like Baba, not 100% like them, but similar setup, I guess, with the recent dip. As I start to watch them recover up this week, I'm going to watch for that break above 66.20. And like you said, with the overall market moving up, that might give some of these more beaten down stocks like the green light to keep recovering. So I'm going to watch Square for a dip buy here. And I think that come tomorrow and the next few days, I think we could watch these growth stocks for some good moves. This whole week, I think, is going to provide some amazing opportunities. So make sure you guys keep tuning into the nightly videos, because we're going to have some great plays as the week goes on. And of course, earnings are going to make it even more fun.
Yeah, how can you not tune into an earnings week, Tom? Especially when you have Tesla and Netflix reporting. It's going to be an exciting week. But good stuff there with Block. And let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. And with the first one, we have CGC to the upside, which didn't do too much on Friday, but it has been holding up decently over like the past couple months.
Yeah, and I would go ahead and look for them to break above 445. There was a bit of a hit there before the end of day, and then the stock moved down. So I'll watch that area for a good continuation up.
And with these types of stocks, it's all about that momentum. Like, if these stocks don't have that volume and good price action surging in, then they're not worth trading. But when they do have that, like, solid momentum, they're pretty strong. So keep a close eye on it. But with the next one, we have Intel also to the upside.
Yeah, Intel is going to be great. They do have earnings later in the week, so, keep in mind, these are just meant to be day trades. You're not meant to, like, buy and hold these into earnings. I just want to clarify that for everybody, but I'm going to watch for them to break above 48.80, just above that high of day Friday. If they break there, I'll watch for a push up to 49 and then $50.
All right, and then with the last one, we have GLD for both directions.
Yeah, GLD should be awesome. They even had a pretty nice recovery end of week last week. If they end up breaking above the triple top end of day, and I would say getting above 188.50, then go ahead and look at calls to the upside. If they end up falling under that double bottom low of day at 187.45, then go ahead and look at puts.
All right, so we have that downside level for puts, and we have the upside level for calls for GLD. Keep a close eye on this one. And then don't forget about Intel with the upside level there, and CGC with the upside level there. These three stocks are only potential trades if they break the levels Tom listed. If they don't break, then find a new setup. But let's get right into today's $780,000 big money trade of the day. and we are looking at ticker symbol FXI. So this is a setup kind of like the BABA setup, but basically FXI follows a bunch of Chinese stocks, and these stocks have been taking a beat down lately, right? We'll say that. And the big money put around 780 grand into these FXI 24 strike call options that expire on March 1st of 2024. So there's like a little bit of time to this trade. The call options are a little bit far out of the money, but you know, Chinese stocks are pretty volatile and they're pretty oversold right now. So I think it's a very interesting setup. I can understand why the big money is taking this trade. I'll also say that, you know, it is a risky trade. Like, it has potential, but it's definitely pretty risky.
Yeah, it is. And some of the other big money plays on FXI lately haven't really been doing the best. You know, some of these have been very shaky, if not even like down quite a bit. And, you know, the big money's not always going to win. But I do like this one, given that we've been dipping quite a bit under support lately. And I love that price action from Friday. And I love that higher close. I think that that really shows that, you know, the stock was holding up good. And even in after hours, there was like a print pretty high. So I'm going to really watch the China stocks come Monday. I think there could be some good movement back up. And I know China has had a lot of tensions lately with the U.S., Taiwan, and just everything going on in the world. It's just not a good time for, you know, a lot of these international stocks. But what I'll say is that China stocks are very beaten down, and in the short term, there could be some great movement. So I do like this, that it's only for a couple months too. You know, that does give me some good hope that in the short term, we could see a good recovery. And I'm not saying that we're going to like run all the way back up to like 26, but even a good move right here up to 23, 24 would be amazing.
There we go. But yeah, Tom, this week is going to be a very exciting one. There's going to be a lot of big moves, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity in many different ways. And we already started to see this on Friday. There were a lot of big movers, SMCI being one of them. That stock went ballistic on Friday. I'm not even kidding, Tom. Some of the options on this stock were up on a close over close basis, like 350,000%. Oh, I'm not even kidding. Like, this is one of the biggest moves that I have seen in a long time, and the options market sure showed that. One of our bots, SurgeBot, started calling out this one to the upside 2 minutes after the market opened on Friday. And we had one trader, PV, who really capitalized on that. He called this one out super early, but he made like $3,600 just with SurgeBot. It was a phenomenal trade, and Surge just hit it out of the park. So huge shout out to you, PV. Great job capitalizing off that. And if you guys want in on the action with SurgeBot, definitely check out the StockedUp trading floor. It's the place to be. We have a ton of great software. And I'll say this, we've been doing some very, very, very good updates behind the scenes that should be ready for release probably within 2 weeks or so. But we have a lot of great technology, a lot of great bots in the program right now. And as we add this new software, the prices will definitely rise, and it's going to definitely turn some heads. The software is getting really, really good. So definitely join the StockedUp trading floor. It's that first link in the description, in the comments down below. You get access to all of our bots. You can chat with Tom and myself all day long, and it's the place to be for short-term trading. But Tom, besides that, do you have anything else you want to talk about before we close out?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a big earnings week. Just be careful out there. I know the market's making new highs, and it's going to be fun to chase those continuations above the all-time high, and that's really going to be the main play I'm looking for. But obviously, if the market does start pulling back, just be a little bit wary. You know, sometimes the market will run up a couple points, and then you know, that'll still count as a double top in the long term in the grand scheme of things. So just be a little wary, but I love that high close, and I think there's a lot of stocks set to break out this week. So I love the day trades that we posted, Mike, like Square, Zoom, Baba, Meta. I think there's going to be some great opportunities between all four of those. So make sure you guys go back if you missed those earlier, but let's go. It's going to be a great week. There's going to be a lot of opportunities out there, and I think that even though like the market's not dropping and the VIX and the volatility isn't heating up, that doesn't mean there's not good movement, right? Like there's some great movement to the upside. So take advantage of it.
There we go. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. It'll be a very exciting week. Come join us in the StockedUp trading floor, and let's crush it.